go. I was on mute, but I was saying the book is great. Right from the very beginning when I was reading the foreword, things that we know, it's good to see.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And first review in, very important.
Yeah. Got to get that momentum going.
Excellent.
And you know how much effort it takes to write a book and edit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And first review in, very important.
Yeah. Got to get that momentum going. You know how much effort it takes to write a book.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And first review in, very important.
Yeah.
All right. Should we wait a couple more minutes, do you think, Michael? For some more people to trickle in?
Well, I think you should get started. The more people trickle in, they'll trickle in.
All right. If everyone could mute themselves. And if you have any questions during the presentation, don't be afraid to write in the chat or unmute yourself and ask me. This can be kind of an interactive session. My name is Bita Gasemi. I will go ahead and share my screen. I will be leading this workshop on how to make a no-budget music video. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see that? Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself a bit. My name is Bita, as I said. I'm a 24-year-old filmmaker based in Austin, Texas. I graduated in 2018 from the radio, television, film program at the University of Texas at Austin, where I learned a lot of filmmaking skills, a lot of DIY filmmaking skills, because a lot of the stuff that I was working on as a student was low budget productions. And so after I graduated, I had even less access to resources and equipment because before that, the university would let me have cameras, would let me have lighting, would let me have a lot of different filmmaking equipment. But as I graduated, all of that wasn't a resource to me anymore. And so I had to kind of become very innovative. And so over the last couple of years, I've really honed in on the skills of DIY filmmaking. And I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about what I've learned and how I can basically make a really, really expensive looking video for less than $1,000, less than $500, even less than $100. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is a clip from one of my favorite music videos that I've worked on. This is for a band in Austin called Blue Moon. And this is available on YouTube, and it's called Grass Stains Just Begun Hollywood. That's the name of the song. I'll go ahead and play a few minutes of the beginning of the clip, and then we can go ahead and get started. So here we go.
Parallel to present day festivities. Bloody hands got, bloody hands got holes and grass stains in our jeans. What I wasted, should have tasted, made amends to from the tree. What I wasted, should have tasted, made amends to from the tree. I found my creator out the door sitting behind the tree. I found my creator out the door sitting behind the trees. On his way to bring the days coming back again to me. Head on. Take your
Basically, that music video is 2 music videos in one. So you kind of get a double feature. And the artist basically mixed the 2 tracks to where if you're listening to them, for example, in Spotify or Apple Music, the 2 tracks flow into one another. So we thought that that was a really cool that was a really cool concept. So what we did was basically half of the music video was one song and half the other was the other song, and then we just made it all into one really long music video, which was about 7 minutes long. But I just showed you guys the first half of it, which gives you kind of gist of what we did. And for that video, we ended up spending around $500, and I'll get into later on how we did that and how we raised that money as well. So let's talk a little bit about choosing the right song in the band. So for that situation, for example, for me, I knew that band. I was personally friends with that band. And the lead singer, Kendra, has been my best friend for many, many years. But if you don't have any connection to a band, you can kind of look up local bands in your town, or look up your local radio station and see if they know if they're playing any artists in town that are up and coming, or you can start cold emailing them if you don't know someone who knows that person, or if your local radio station doesn't know them. It's always good to start local, because if you try to aim high for your first music video, it's probably not going to work out, and then you're going to be disappointed. So starting local with some local bands would probably be the best option, because they're also up and coming as well as you. So I would suggest recommending a song to them that you like, because you guys want to both be on the same page. You want to both be passionate about the project, and see if they have, for example, any new music coming out, because unreleased music is the best type of music to do music videos for, because then you can start building up and creating that hype, because they're going to release that track, and you can create that buzz with the music video, with the clips of the music video that you post on your social media. And as they do more promotion of their single or their album, you'll also get to kind of like ride off of that buzz. So yeah, so if you don't have a band in mind, finding local bands, cold emailing them, or finding them on Instagram, DMing them, that can also work. That's also worked for me in the past. And then, so think about the resources that you have. What do you have at your disposal? Think about, is the band going to fund the music video? Are you going to fund the music video? And think about what you have at your disposal and maximize those assets. If you have a house, for example, that you can shoot for free, try to think of a concept that works around that house. If you have, for example, a really cool piece of equipment, for example, a crane or a drone or something that at your disposal, maybe try to figure out a concept that goes around that situation. Yeah, so for this music video, for example, let's talk about finding an interesting story or concept, plus the resources that we had at our disposal. For this music video, basically the concept, which was a collaboration between me and the lead singer, Kendra, we kind of like had a few meetings and talked about what we could do with the resources that we had available, which basically the resources that we had was one camera from a friend, which was actually pretty nice quality. So he let us use that for free. And basically just a lot of different people. So we had a ton of people, ton of cool looking people, and a ton of people who had different talents. For example, roller skating, or bike riding, or painting. So we kind of just took everything, and the idea was a super simple idea, but basically, if you could tell in the video, a lot of the clips were reversed. So basically we shot them normally and then just reverse them in the editing software. It's just super simple. It's a super simple trick, but it adds a little bit of, it adds an element that makes the video very visually appealing. And it's free. So that was a cool kind of like mind trick that we added to it. And I can show you guys a clip now of basically a shot that let me pull it up. In the music video, there's this one shot that I particularly like. Right about here. And it's of her, you'll see the clip, but basically it's of her, instead of throwing money down onto the ground, she's catching money. So you'll see the clip right now. So did everyone see that clip? Basically, it's just a little bit off. So when you see it, you can kind of tell that there's something different about the clip, but you can't really, if you don't look close enough, you can't really tell what it is. So we thought that that was cool imagery to play with. And I can show you guys how we did that. Basically, I'll show you a little behind the scenes clip of what we did. So here she is standing up here on the top right. Here's the camera guy laying on his back, having kind of a pointed up shot towards her. Here's me calling action on the ground. And then here are two people who were helping us on set who were catching the money because it was kind of a windy day and those were real $100 bills. So as she threw them down towards the camera, they would fly away, and we had the two guys in the back kind of chase after the money to make sure we wouldn't lose the money. Here, I'll play the clip for you guys, just 10-second clip. Action. So in that clip, the money actually didn't fly away, so we didn't have to use the two guys, but in other clips, in other takes that we had done, the money was actually flying away, and so we had to have them chase after it because they were actual real $100 bills. And so that's how it was in slow motion. So when we put it in slow motion and then reversed it, that's how we got that effect. So now that you've seen that, let me replay this clip again really quick so you can kind of tell. So yeah, does that kind of make sense? Awesome. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions about any particular shots or any particular scenes in the music video that they found cool or interesting, feel free to write them in the chat or unmute yourself and we can chat about it. And if I miss any chats, Brett, will you just let me know if there are any questions in the chat? Got it. Okay, awesome. So yeah, the concept of that video was super simple. It was just things that look cool in reverse. And it was free to do that concept. We weren't blowing anything up. We weren't doing any stunts. We weren't doing anything cool, like super expensive that looked cool. We kind of just used what we had. We used our resources to maximize what we had. And in that video, we had actually the next clip that was playing right after that one was actually I'll just go ahead and show y'all again, is my mother. This is my mother shaving her head. And in parts of the video, yeah, she actually volunteered for my art to have her head shaved. And for parts of it, we had the shaving of the head be reversed. So it looked pretty cool. Like these clips. So yeah, the resources that we had to our disposal, we just used and we maximized those. And that's what you have to do to make a low budget music video. You think about what you have, you think about who you have, you think about the equipment that you have, even if it's just your iPhone, and then you build a concept around that. And then so the next thing I want to talk about is scheduling your shoot in detail. So for that music video, we ended up shooting 2 days. And what we did was we basically created a schedule of every location that we had, of every person that we needed to come in and out, just kind of like a detailed mapping of the day to make sure that we were staying on time, and that we weren't going over 12 hours, which is actually a good rule to follow. You don't want to shoot for over 12 hours because at that point people just start getting really tired. And so yeah, preparation is key to make sure that everything is efficient on the days of shooting. And here, for example, this is something that I like to do when there are a lot of actors on set. This can be done in a software, or you can just draw it. I have also drawn it by hand many times. These are called overheads. So basically, if you think about it, you're looking at the situation from an aerial point of view. And this, for example, is scene 9. Here we have all the actors, these little circles standing in a line, and then we have the camera going from here to the right. So all it is basically showing me and the camera person on set what the camera movement is going to be. So if there's going to be a lot of cool camera movements on set, it may be good to kind of like draw it out by hand, or using a software like this to kind of get in your head, and to kind of show everyone what kind of camera movements you want to be doing. So let's talk a little bit more about pre-production. So does everyone know what pre-production, production, and post-production means? Yeah. So
there was a quick question in the chat from Mona about the storyboarding.
Sure. Could you read it to me, Brett?
Yeah, is it the storyboard on paper, or is there a software that you use?
So for music videos, there are 2 different types of music videos that I make. One, they're the kind of like abstract types of music videos, which is what I just showed you. It's kind of just like you get on set and you shoot everything. You kind of have a general idea of what the person is doing. So if this guy is bike riding, we just have him riding his bike. If this person is skateboarding, we just have him skateboarding. So it's not really a narrative. It's kind of just like different shots. So in that situation, I don't storyboard. But for a situation where the music video is a story, it has a 3-act structure type narrative arc. It's a story that you want to tell in like 3 or 4 minutes. In that case, I would kind of generally do a storyboard. And for me personally, I draw the storyboards by hand. There are softwares online, but I love drawing. I love painting. So drawing the storyboards by hand kind of gives me a better visual sense for that. But Mona, have you had experience storyboarding in the past? Oh, Mona, are you in the pink? Are you Mona? Did I get a question from someone else? That's okay. We can talk. So I hope that's clear about storyboarding and overheads. And that's part of the scheduling process, so that when you get on set, you have a very clear idea and clear picture of the shots that you want to get. And so you just want to make your shooting as efficient as possible. and to make sure that you're not keeping people again for over 12 hours, because at that point people will start getting grumpy and fatigued. 10 hours is actually a sweet spot, because you can pack a lot of stuff in a day and you can get maximized kind of like the golden hour times of the morning and the night, which we'll talk a little bit more later about lighting as well. And so, okay, let's talk a little bit more about pre-production before we get into the production. So for me, finding reliable crew has always been easy because I went to film school, and I created my network through going to film school, through my classes, working on sets, working on a lot of student productions. But if you don't have that, there are ways to find people who are willing to work for free, and who have a passion for creating short films or music videos. And it's actually quite simple. There are tons of Facebook groups, like of people in your city or in your town who want to work on sets. And so just do a quick Facebook search of groups of people who want to create short films. And if you don't have friends in the industry, or if you don't have friends who have experience, there are definitely people out there or sets that you could just work on to kind of get firsthand experience. So don't be afraid to hit up people who are in those chats. And so like I said, because I went to film school, I made a lot of friends who were into filmmaking. So I was not afraid to ask them for favors, but obviously in this industry, or just filmmaking in general, it's all about who you know, but it's all about the relationships. So if somebody is working for you for free, working on your set, trying to get your vision created, it's always good to let them know that anything that they need, you're willing to help them out as well. So it's always like a favor to favor basis. For that music video that I just showed you guys, it was a really good camera that we had available. And the reason we were able to use that camera for free was because one of us had helped the camera guy on a different set before. So everything is about, I'll help you on this for free if you help me on this for free in the future. So it's all about connections. It's all about who you know, but it's also about keeping the relationships. And also, I would also say that make sure that the people who you're working with are very intrinsically motivated and understand that these are passion projects, and the passion projects aren't going to come with a lot of money. So they're going to want to be there. They want to be there and be involved because they believe in you and they believe in the project. So make sure you're working with people who have just positive attitudes and positive energy. And then keeping the relationship good is another aspect of that would be feeding the crew. So either I would say that this is a part of the music video that you should spend a little bit of money on, making sure that there's enough food and water on set, and making sure people are having at least one hot meal on set. And for me, in the past, I have gotten a lot of food donations. And how I went about that was basically, in Austin, there are a lot of different restaurants. You guys probably have heard things about Austin that we're all about food and all about tacos. And so I've gone to so many different establishments in Austin in person, actually, and asked to speak with the manager and asked if they would be willing to kind of do a partnership or a sponsorship with us for their name, the name of their restaurant being at the end of our credits. So they give us food donations, maybe like $25 or $30 worth of food donations in exchange for us giving them a little shout out at the end of the video. And that has worked for me in the past. I've gotten a lot of food donations from Chipotle, actually. I've gotten a lot of like leftover breads and pastries from Panera Bread. I've gotten some food donations from a lot of pizza establishments like Domino's, Papa John's. And so I think if you don't have the money to work with, to play with, to get the crew fed, food donations is actually a good way to go. And if you don't have time to go and go door knocking at all the different restaurants, cold emailing has also worked for us in the past. So emailing the establishments and asking them. yeah, reaching out is a good way to do that. And then let's talk a little bit about casting. So I talked about Facebook groups in the past. Facebook groups are great. So there are a lot of different Facebook groups for actors in different cities. So whatever your city is, just do a quick search. I guarantee you that there's a Facebook acting group for every major city in the US. So you can post on there. You can kind of state what kind of talent you're looking for. If it's no budget, or if you have like a little bit of a budget to work with, if it's even like $50 to pay someone for coming out and helping, that definitely makes a lot of difference with the type of talent that you attract versus a no budget video. Yeah, and then other ways that you could attract talent would be Craigslist. That has worked for me for finding a lot of extras. And websites like backstage.com. That's a good website for if you're trying to find like a really talented actor or actress. I found actually talent that I've used for some of my short films through backstage.com. And then if it's a no budget video, make sure that they know from the get-go what they're getting involved in. Make sure they understand and that they're okay with it, there being no money involved, and that this is a very low budget production. All right, and let's talk a little bit now about equipment. So basically, you don't need that big camera that I showed to make a good music video, actually. For me, I have the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It's not the 12 just came out, but this is the one that was that came out last year. I'm very happy with the video quality, and I would be happy shooting an entire video just using the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So I'm going to show you guys a clip that I've shot just using my iPhone this past weekend, actually a few days ago. So I'll go ahead and pull that up. All right, here it is. This is shot on my iPhone, and there's an effect on it, which I'll explain right after the clip.
Are y'all ready? All right. And action. All right, let me keep the door open. Sorry, I flinched.
Don't worry. Okay, let's do it again and kick here so it's past the camera. If you wait, or should I just
Come over here.
just I'll get out of here.
All right, so you might have noticed on this clip that there's kind of like this circle around it. Basically, the effect that we were trying to get with this shot was that he's knocking and looking into a peephole. And so all we did for that was I took this iPhone and I took this clip-on, which you can get on Amazon, which you can get online. It's called a fisheye clip-on. All I did was clip it on and to the end, onto the camera, and then I got this kind of cool peephole effect. And yeah, these are super inexpensive. I got mine for like a couple bucks from the store called Daiso, but I've seen them online on Walmart, on Amazon, and they're like $4 or $5. So they're actually all different types of clip-on lenses for iPhones. Ones that make your camera wider, ones that make them that zoom in, ones that can add like a colored effect over your lens. There's so many different things that you could play with clip-on lenses. So this was one example of, you don't need to have a lot of fancy equipment to do like a really cool shot like this. So yeah, equipment, for the equipment part, I would be happy shooting an entire music video with my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Obviously the lighting would have to be good. So choosing a time of day that fits the mood of your video, avoiding super harsh lighting, like in the middle of the day. And then if you're indoors, it's always good to kind of, there are certain apps, for example, that tell you what position the sun will be at during what part of the day. So if you're indoors and you're shooting indoors and you have a window, and you want the sun to be coming in through the window, but you're not exactly sure which direction the house is facing. You're not exactly sure what position the sun will be at. There are apps that show you where the sun is. So you can just take the app and kind of like rotate it around and see where the sun's going to be at what time, and then have shoot at that part of the day so that you know for a fact that that part of the day is going to look really cool in the music video. So using the sun, which is a free resource for lighting, is an incredible way to get really cool shots. And more about equipment, you should keep in mind that whatever you use, keeping all of your batteries charged. That's a really, really big one, because, for example, my iPhone, it only has a limited amount of time before it dies. And then I don't have another iPhone. And then if you're going to be shooting for 12 hours, just make sure that you have like a battery pack, or if you have, if you're shooting with a camera, if you have a few extra batteries charging so that you can switch out, making sure that you're always mindful of battery and you're always mindful of power. So make sure that you have enough power around if you're shooting indoors, and not, don't plug everything into one plug, because in the past for me, I've actually worked on a couple sets where we've ended up like blowing the entire wall, and we had to go, reset the power because we plugged too many things like lights, camera, everything into one wall. So keeping that in mind, kind of like dispersing the power throughout the house if you're shooting inside. So another point for equipment, in music videos, the thing that makes music videos really cool is movement. I'd say movement, camera movement, and I would say slow motion shots. So those are if you keep those two in mind, and you have a few slow motion shots, I think you can make a really cool looking music video. So I'm going to show you guys 2 clips of some DIY movement that we've created with just using the bed of a truck. So let me pull that up. This was 2 weekends ago, actually. We ended up sitting in the back of a truck like this, had a camera at the end of the truck. And then we had our actor, he's this up and coming rapper in Texas called Splash Daddy. And you can look him up. And basically this is what we did. We had someone driving. Yeah. So basically we sat in the bed of the truck, all 3 of us. We had this person was holding this speaker so that he could hear the music. So, and then I was playing the music from through Bluetooth with my phone. And then we had the camera person, we had someone driving, and then we had the talent. And then I'll show you what that shot ended up looking like. Like this.
Beating.
I used to smoke blunts, but now I smoke paper. I used to smoke dabs, but now I smoke vapor. Give it to me straight, cause I don't fuck with chasers. Damn, I feel lost. I just woke up, my dentist told me need a floss, yeah. Need a job, yeah. Mama sauce, yeah, but what about me? Only friend, this is
So yeah, the super easy. You just sit in the back of a truck, and you don't have to have a super fancy camera like we had there. You could just sit there with your iPhone in the bed of a truck and have someone coming with either, bike, they could be on roller skates, they could be on a skateboard, and that creates a really cool effect. I'll show you guys one more situation of us in the bed of a truck and what we were able to accomplish. This was also this past weekend. I sat in the corner of the truck, and then with the newer iPhones, you're able to get like a kind of a wider lens. It's called the 0.5 lens, and so it shows like more of the frame. And so I sat in the very corner of the truck, and I held it towards the actors, and this is what we ended up with. And there's no music over that, but once we put music over that, it'll look really cool. But basically we just put a ton of different colored lights inside the bed of the truck, and then Batgirl was holding like a colored wand. And then the truck was driving very slowly though, and on a safe street. And I was just sitting in the corner and kind of moving the iPhone around to get some shots. So yeah, that's what you can do with a truck. If you have access to a truck, it's super cool and super easy to get some shots like that. And that adds a lot of production value, because I think that the more movement in your shots, that adds a lot of value to the video. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about locations. So most of the locations I've ended up getting for music videos, actually I'd say all of them have all ended up being free. And that's with a lot of asking, it's with a lot of persistence. And so I'm going to show you guys a music video. Basically, I would say that if you have one location, like this one in this image here, this is a stadium. If you have one really cool location, it can be a super effective video. And so this is actually a stadium. It's my high school stadium. And I had already graduated college by the time we had shot this, but I basically went back to my high school and I just kept asking. I kept asking the athletic director. I kept asking the principal. I'm like, hey, we really want to shoot this video. Is it at all possible if we could use the stadium? And of course, they were kind of reluctant at first, but I just kept asking. I was being persistent. And finally, I got someone to say yes and approve it. And it was a really cool situation because we got to use the stadium for free all day. And this is actually the stadium that they shot Friday Night Lights in. So it's a pretty iconic stadium. And so I'll show you guys a little bit of the music video that we shot there. But this is what I mean by just having one really solid location. You can shoot a really cool music video. And they let us use the place for free. So I will go ahead and play the video. All right.
Shawty say she just met for now. Goddamn, now she blowing up my cell. Ay, finna cop a trip down to ATL. They ask me how I'm doing, bitch. I'm doing very well. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Now I got some rings like NFL. Never went to college, had no help. Now I'm making racks and I spend it on myself. Yeah, about to hit IKEA, spend a rack on a shelf. Feeling like a punk with these studs on my belt. Damn, bitch, I'm crazy. When I hit the blunt, I feel lazy. Came up out the water like the Navy. Won't rap all your shit, now you can't pay me. Man, I love my Swiss, now that's my baby. I got horses in my car just like I'm Tracy. They ask me how I'm doing very well. Now I got some rings just like NFL. I never went to college, bitch, I never had no help. Now I'm making racks and I spend it on myself. I'm doing well, I'm doing well.
So yeah, that was basically all one location, and that was a lot of different places around the location. So we had the stadium, we could shoot up on the bleachers, we could shoot down below. There were props like those big wheels that we just kind of found there. So we just like threw someone in there and we like pushed them down the field. So just kind of like making use of what you have. And that was a free location that we ended up getting. So that added so much production value. And so it's just about persistence. So if there's one location that you really, really want, actually the rapper wanted a different stadium, but I tried and he tried, like we asked many, many times and they ended up saying no. So, but it was actually better because I liked the stadium more. And this is the one that said yes to us. So it's all about persistence. And finally we locked a location that we were all happy with. So yeah, that's yeah, about locations. I usually, if it's a location like this, I would say having permission to shoot there is, very important. If it's just kind of like a street, or that shot where she was throwing the money down, we didn't have permission to shoot on that street. But in that case, for low budget music videos, my rule is ask forgiveness, not permission. So in that situation, if it's a safe enough location and you're just getting a quick shot, I'd say that it's okay. But if it's like a location like this where, you know, you're going to be there all day and you're like staging equipment and have a ton of people, I would say having permission is better than not. So yeah, last thing on this slide is the production value. So in this situation, the stadium was our production value. It added so much value to our production. But if there are other things at your disposal that you can think of that you have access to, for example, if your friend has a farm and he has a ton of different, you know, cool animals, maybe you could use the animals on your set. But that, you know, there are so many different things. Just try to think outside the box. Who do you know who has something cool to their disposal? Do they have a really cool car? Do they have a really cool house? You know, it could be a location, it could be a prop, it could be a piece of equipment, it could be an animal, it could be a visual effect. You know, just think about what you have at your disposal and then build your concept off of that. So that's how you add production value to something when you don't have much money. So let's talk a little bit about money. So basically, I'm doing these low budget music videos in hopes of one day being able to do bigger budget music videos for bigger artists, but you have to start somewhere. So this first one that we did, the one that I showed you at the beginning for the band Blue Moon, we ended up raising $530 US. And what we did was we created an Indiegogo, and I'll show you guys the Indiegogo right here. So basically, we threw together this Indiegogo, and what we ended up doing was we shot the music video and then we created the Indiegogo, which you could do it either way. You could create the Indiegogo and then you could shoot the video. But basically, we created like this little clip, which was basically the beginning of the video. It's like a 34-second clip that we put here to like show people what the money that they're spending will be going towards. And then we had a few stills of the video. So we just kind of like took screenshots of certain parts of the video and put them here. And then we gave like a little description of the video, what the money would be going towards, and then what we need it for, you know, and what you would get if you donated. So actually, the band was willing to give certain items in exchange for money. So they were willing to take that financial hit for the video. So they ended up giving, for example, if you donated $15 US, you got a Blue Moon t-shirt. If you gave $25, you got the sticker pack and the t-shirt. If you donated $50, you could get a CD, t-shirt, and sticker pack. So it's always good to give kind of like incentives for people to donate. And you can talk to the band, and they can think of things that they could give, like any sort of merch that they could give. And then we kind of just listed the people who were working on it. So we had the co-director and the lead singer, who was Kendra, the main character. There's me, who's the co-director and co-editor. And then there's Tiger, who was the director of photography. There's Ellen, who's the co-editor. And then we had our additional crew down here as well. So basically, everyone who's on the set, if everyone posts on their social media about this, then we have a very wide network, and we're able to reach a lot of people who donated, even just like small bits of money. So then we reached $530, which paid for certain things that we needed, for example, feeding the crew. If there was another extra piece of equipment that we wanted that would make the camera a little bit better. So we basically just used that $530 to add value to the production of the music video. So yeah, so actually we all ended up working for free, obviously, because the $530 wasn't able to pay for all of the crew. But as I said, like if you have friends and you have a network of people who are willing to work for free and understand that it's a passion project, you can make something really cool. And for very little money. And obviously the camera that we used in that situation was because of a favor that the guy let us use it, because one of us had helped him out with something before. But like I said, you don't need a really expensive camera to make a music video. All you need is a good artist and a good story and good lighting. That's all you need. So let's talk a little bit about production, and then I know we're running out of time a little bit, but I'll just show a few more clips and then talk a little bit about production. So preparation is, like we talked about before, that's key. So having it, the more prepared you are, the more efficient the shooting process will be, the less time you'll have to keep people around, the more fun that the shoot will be as well. And then morale is also a really big one, in my opinion. If people aren't having fun during the set, then there's no point, because music videos are one of the funnest things that you could shoot as a filmmaker. And so I think that just keeping an eye on everyone throughout the day and making sure that their morale is high, making sure that they're having fun, drinking enough water, they're not overworked, just making sure that everyone who's working there for free is taken care of, then it'll be the funnest set that it could be. Yeah, following the rules, don't cut corners, especially right now during COVID. It's better to have everyone be tested before you're all together to be shooting a music video. But if that's not possible, making sure that everyone's wearing masks. And then, like I said, it's a good rule of thumb is not keeping people for more than 12 hours, and for there to be a 12-hour turnaround time before you shoot again the next day, just so that people have enough time to get, rejuvenated and have enough rest for the next day of shooting. Because also music videos, they're exhausting. You're on your feet all day. Sometimes, like for that NFL video, the stadium video, we're in the sun, we're in the hot sun all day. So people are exhausted, and especially if they're working for free, making sure that they're fed, making sure that they have enough water, and making sure that they're happy is one of the biggest things, especially if they're working for free. So yeah, equipment, like I said, an iPhone is good enough to shoot on. I would gladly shoot a music video with just my iPhone. And I will show a little clip right now, another clip of something I shot on my iPhone this past weekend, again, part of the same shoot that I worked on this past weekend. Right here. So, like I said, I have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and with the 11 Pro Max, it has built-in image stabilization, which means that the shots that you get when you're moving are super smooth. You guys have probably seen like really big cameras on like really big gimbals where people are like moving to make sure that the shots are super smooth, and they have like this really big rig setup. Nowadays, the iPhone's image stabilization is so high that you can just move your camera in your hand and it feels so smooth that it feels like it's on a gimbal. So I'll show you guys this little clip that I shot just with my iPhone this past weekend. Yeah, so if you notice, that shot was just super smooth with the iPhone. Even there was nothing else in my hand; it was just an iPhone. So I would say even nowadays, an iPhone, the technology has gotten so good, and iPhones have the capability of shooting 4K, which is insane. So yeah, I highly recommend shooting on an iPhone. And like we talked about, making sure that the batteries the night before are charged, everything is ready to go. That's something, it's such a small thing that people kind of like forget about. But when you show up to set and none of your batteries are charged, then, that's going to lead to a lot of, problems. So making sure that everything's charged and ready to go the night before, that's a big one. Water, coffee, snacks on set, making sure there's a bathroom close by. That's also a big one. Like we've talked about food, but talking about a bathroom, if you're shooting in kind of like a remote location and there's no bathroom, make sure that there's a plan for people to be able to go to the bathroom. I've been on sets where, there's someone who they have on set who's just dedicated to driving people from the location to the nearest gas station so we can go to the bathroom whenever we need to. So if you're shooting somewhere in a weird location where there's no bathroom, just make sure that there's a plan ahead of time, which is also like something people just kind of forget about. But it's always good to go to the location beforehand and scout it out. So it's called a location scout. You go there, you see, you know, what resources do we have? Do we have enough power? Are we able, do we need like 100 feet of electricity line to be able to shoot over here in the middle of the stadium? Or should we just, you know, get battery powered lights and speakers and everything? So making sure that you do a little location scout, also seeing like where the nearest bathroom is, that's a really, really big one. So dumping footage and backing it up twice, that's a really big one as well. So after you shoot, you're going to have all of this footage. So what are you going to do with it? You're going to have to, you know, store it on a hard drive. You can't just keep it on the card or on your iPhone. You should keep it on a hard drive so that when you're ready to edit, you have all of the footage on the hard drive. And I would say back it up twice just in case. Having 2 backups of the footage is always a good idea. And then lastly, on the production part, behind the scenes shots, BTS for social media. This is a really cool idea. Having somebody on set who's dedicated to taking pictures of what's going on in the production. So I'll show you a quick picture. This is a picture of us on that day where Kendra was throwing the money on the ground. So this is us just kind of reviewing the footage, but someone took a picture of us. And this is a cool photo that you can kind of post on social media to kind of establish yourself as a director or a photographer or, you know, a camera person. Just having someone, you know, on set taking behind the scenes photos is a really cool idea, because then you can use this kind of as promotional material, marketing material to post on your social media as, oh, hey, look at what we're doing. We're creating something cool. You know, it kind of like establishes yourself more as an artist. So that's an element, or that, and it doesn't have to be a fancy camera. It could just be someone on set be like, hey, do you have an iPhone or do you have a smartphone? Can you just snap a couple pictures of us, you know, throughout the day? So that's a good idea. So behind the scenes shots for social media is always good. So let's talk a little bit about some more DIY tips that I have for you guys. We talked about that using the bed of a truck. So the bed of a truck is always a good idea if you want really cool, smooth movements, but also playing with lighting. So like this middle shot, we're playing with lighting. All we're using here is the sun. The sun is peeping through her as she's dancing. But we timed it to where, you know, the sun was at a golden hour part of the day, and we're shooting towards the sun and she's sitting in front of the sun. And so it's kind of like creating this silhouette effect. So knowing exactly where the sun is throughout the day is a really good idea. This one up here to the left, behind his hair, we have like some smoke. So we use a smoke machine there. And then here at the bottom right, this is a laser machine, which is super cheap and easy to rent from any like party rental place. And then we also had a little bit of smoke in the air, because smoke using a smoke machine plus like laser lights create a really, really cool effect. And let's see, I can show you guys a clip of. Actually, let's replay that clip that I just showed you guys, and I can explain some more of the lighting situation. So for this clip, I'll play it again, and this time notice, like there are different party lights that over here on this side, you'll see a lot of the projection of the party lights. All of these people are lit up kind of blue because we've put a blue light in front of them. Over here, we're going to have a strobe flickering. And then in the air, notice that there's fog, because there's 2 fog machines on both sides that we've placed to create kind of like a hazing effect. So this time, not only notice the smooth camera movement from just an iPhone, but also notice the lighting and the smoke machine, because that's what's really sold this shot. It's just adding a tiny bit of party lights and a little bit of smoke. So yeah, basically all that we did was rent a few party lights and a few smoke machines and throw that onto the right behind the dancers. So that really added a lot of value. It's super cheap and easy way to add production value. And yeah, using a smoke machine. So using the sun to your advantage. I'll show the clip again from that first music video that I showed you guys of using using the sun to your advantage. And that is at around here. Right here. Did everyone catch that? It's kind of like right behind her. And we positioned her in a way to where, like, when she's dancing, the sun peeps through her dancing. So that was a really fun situation to shoot. And I think it turned out really cool with the sun. And I really like the yellow. And yeah. Some more DIY tips that I can tell you guys is make use of props. So the props don't have to be expensive. I'm going to show you guys this other music video I directed where these are a bunch of rappers. And if you notice throughout the video, I'll just show a couple minutes of the video, but if you notice throughout the video, what they're holding in their hand are fruit. There's fruit and vegetables. And, you know, that's not expensive. Someone just went to H-E-B right beforehand and grabbed a bunch of fruit and vegetables. And we were able to shoot this video. And those were the props that they were holding. Some of them were, we're eating bananas, we're eating apples. And so that's kind of an inexpensive way to just add another element to the video. So adding different elements like that adds production value without even, breaking the bank.
They wanna sail through the ozone, won't grow up, but it's still UFO. One time for my game, and a big nigga get in my lane, I switch. Sunshine every day. Tip it tap better that I'll be late again. Run on 8%. Sleepy, I still see through light like been okay, let's play pretend. DC probably need 2 times, yeah. Icky Vicky ho, want me for my shiny teeth, okay. 50-50 split, tag along my limousine, okay. I pass it off with grease, at least my ass will call a spade. The space she pass it when she speak. I go and pass it out the pink. A little bit from my house.
Did everyone catch there was some fruit that they were holding? I think that's like a really cool little, just a tiny little addition to the video that, just working with props. So whatever you have at home, if you just have something cool lying around, have the person if it's a group of singers or rappers, have them hold it. It'll just add another element. And then we'll just quickly touch on some post-production. Nowadays it's super easy to edit something. You can download, for example, iMovie on your iPhone, and you can edit an entire video, which I've done before on my iPhone. If you have a Mac, iMovie is free. If you have a Windows Movie Maker is free. Adobe Premiere is actually the one that I use, Adobe Premiere Pro. And that is a super user-friendly software. And usually you can get it in, it's called the Creative Cloud. So Adobe Premiere Pro is actually super user-friendly, and the learning curve isn't super hard. There are tons of YouTube tutorials on how to use editing softwares, but I would say if you're a beginner, you should use iMovie or Windows Movie Maker. There's also Final Cut Pro. If you guys have heard of that one, that's also another one that's pretty super user-friendly. So those are ones that I definitely recommend. And then, coloring, that's another one. If you feel like the footage that you've gotten needs a little bit of tweaking, like if it needs to be brightened a little bit, if you feel like you want to, up the saturation so that the colors are a little bit more vibrant within the editing software, that's all also super easy. Looking up tutorials, how to color a music video or how to color my footage in Premiere. Super easy, basic ways that you can color your footage within the software. And then marketing the video, like I said before, if you had someone on set, taking those behind the scenes shots, that's super cool. Marketing and promotional content that you could post on all your social medias. And then once you finish the video, I would recommend posting it on YouTube or on Vimeo. And then if you are pretty proud of the video, actually, you can go to this website, and I can pull it up right now, called filmfreeway.com. So this is a website where you can submit short films or music videos to all of the major festivals, plus a ton of smaller festivals. And if you just want, more exposure for your music video, you can search like a music video festival. And then here, there are tons of festivals that are accepting submissions for music videos. And then here on the left, entry fees. If you just pull this to the left, you could do, here's $0. So, $0, you can submit to all of these festivals that are accepting music videos. So, why not? Why not just, send your music video around to see if you can, have it play at some festivals around the world? That would be super cool, So, yeah, the last thing I kind of want to say, actually, I'm going to show one more clip really quick of basically what we usually end up doing when we make a music video is we export either the first 30 seconds to a minute of the video, and that's what we use that we post on social media. So even though a music video is short, it's usually like, anywhere from 2.5 to 6 minutes long, people still kind of, they don't watch the entire video. So even just having a little promotional clip like this, like 30 seconds of the video from the beginning of the video that you post on your social media that people can watch, that's pretty valuable. So I'll show you guys this one that we made, and I'll just show you like the first 30 seconds of it. And this is what we posted on social media. And again, with this video, there's nothing special about it. The only things that we've done to achieve this look are put party lights up. So we have red on one side of her, we have blue on the other side of her, and it's created this like purpley look inside of the room. So we just put up a bunch of red lights on the right, a bunch of blue lights on her left, and it's created this super cool effect. And then we had a bunch of people come in to do like a pretend party scene. And yeah, that's it. That's all. You just get a bunch of shots from around the room, get a lot of slow motion shots. Slow motion is really a cool trick for music videos because people love watching slow motion during music videos. And so, yeah, that's a super way to execute that. And it was just a small clip that we exported. I posted it on my Instagram, my Facebook, and then posted this 30-second clip and gave it to all of the crew members. And all of the cast members told them to post it on all of their social media so that we created like a hype or a buzz towards the videos. And then we said, hey, this music video is coming out next week. Keep your eyes peeled. And then during the day of the video, we post the actual video and say, hey, today's the day of the release of this video. Check it out on YouTube or Vimeo. Yeah, and the last thing I just want to mention is because these are passion projects and, usually there isn't a lot of money involved, you have to keep yourself accountable. You have to follow through and you have to execute. So always having a delivery date in mind so that, the video doesn't drag on forever, having some sort of timeline built for yourself and everyone on set and, for the post-production, the editing process is super important. So just making sure that you execute it and that you deliver it by a reasonable date. And then lastly, just have fun, because this is one of the most fun things that you could do as a filmmaker is create music videos, in my opinion. And you just don't need a lot. I know I've said that, I've given a lot of tips on things that you need, but you really don't need a lot. Like I said, you just need a good smartphone, you just need a good band, and you just need a good concept. And everything else is just additional. So yeah, if there are any other questions, feel free to write them in the chat or unmute yourself, and I'd be happy to explain. If you have any questions about how we, achieved certain shots or certain looks, or if you just have any other general questions, let me know. Any questions about how we achieved certain things, or any general questions about filmmaking?